Alright YouTubers, coming back at you with another knife video. Doing a first impressions video here on the new Benchmade 765. This is kind of one of those knives I was really excited about this year for it to come out, because the 761, it was a little big and it had a tip down only clip, which is a no-go for me. And there was some D10 issues with it, and it just didn't... It wasn't the knife that I think everyone wanted to come out. I'm sure a lot of people like it, but I think what people were wanting was more of a Sebenza style or size knife. Now the 765 is actually kind of in between the small Sebenza and large Sebenza as far as size is concerned. I don't have a small Sebenza at the moment, but here's a large knife art exclusive, and you can see it's just slightly, it's got a 3.25 inch blade versus 3.5 on the Sebenza, so it's a good size. Handle length is, oh, let's see, I can't find my ruler all of a sudden. 4.22, about 4, just over 4.25 inches, right around 4.25 inches long. So good size handle, 3.2 4-inch blade, so about 3.25 inch blade. You do get M390 steel, which is great. This is a first production run, and they like to put that all over the blade. And then you have a patent number up here, and we'll explain what that's for in a minute. And then you have the Benchmade logo. So it's a good size knife, sandblasted titanium handles. You've got the what they call their monolock, which we'll get to in a minute, and you have a titanium pocket clip as well that is very stiff. I'm going to be honest with you, it's a pocket shredder. It's going to tear up your pockets because it just doesn't have much give. You know, everything gets compared to the Sebenzas, and that's for a reason. This is one of the best pocket clips out there. Also titanium. Has plenty of spring give. It doesn't tear your pants to pieces. This Kaiser here, which is a pretty low, inexpensive model, has a titanium clip, and it looks stiff, but it's not. It actually has some good give to it. So that is one negative, I will say, and we'll go back and cover those in a minute. But so that's kind of your overall design here. Tip down or tip up carry, which is great. I'm glad they listened to the fans on that one. See the lanyard, whole lot some chamfering there. You've got a little bit of jimping here, some nice decorative standoffs. Got a little jimping here. It is on bearings, so it is super smooth to open and shut, which is one of my favorite things of it. Your classic drop point blade, M390 steel again. Thumb stud, one thumb stud, which is decorative also. And it is, you can move it left to right hand. So now let's get to my first impressions when I picked up this knife. I actually handled this knife before at Blade Ops when I was there one day, and the first thing I noticed when I opened it is my thumb caught this little corner right here, and it's got a sharp edge right here, very sharp edge. The one I handled before was even sharper. This one seems to be not as bad, but you'll notice it. You'll put this in your hand, and you're like, what is that? What's catching my finger right there? It's kind of sharp and pointy. I don't think it's gonna cut you, but it's gonna be uncomfortable under use. It's gonna catch you, and I'm thinking, what in the world? Like, what? I don't understand. I've never seen anything like that. Why is it like that one? And I'm trying to figure out why there's this cutout here in the frame, because it's really not necessary. And I'll show you an example. There's 3 frame locks here. None of them have that extra cutout. It's just a straight cut. Here's the frame. No sharp corners, nice and rounded. We'll look at the CT808, similar sized knife, but a flipper. Same thing, straight cut on the lock bar, nice and rounded. No sharp edges. Kaiser, Cucchiera, very nicely rounded actually. No sharp edges, and again a straight cut on the bar. So I'm not sure if this is just part of the monolock. I didn't have the original 761 to know, but when it's shut, you look at it and you're like, oh, that looks good. It's kind of, it's just another variation of the Chris Ring integral lock, but they call it a monolock. But that, I don't know why that's there. I don't feel like that's really necessary. I feel like you could fill that in, or just not cut that out and still be able to lock the knife. It creates a hot spot. It's kind of strange, and it's I don't know if it's like this on the 761, so if you have had that or have one currently and you can compare it, but it's pretty obvious. I'm not the only person. I had a buddy with me, big knife guy, and he said, yeah, that's weird that initially catches your thumb when you run your finger over that. it's kind of a sharp point. And the problem is when you grip the knife, you feel it right here in your meat of your finger right there. If you're gripping right there, you can kind of overcome it, but then you'll feel it right down here in your finger, and then when you're holding it in a reverse grip, you feel it. It's just kind of a nuisance. It's not like horrible, but for me, it's a kind of a scratch in my head moment, like what were they thinking on the design kind of moment. I don't know. Maybe they thought it wasn't a big deal, and maybe it's not going to be to everyone. But for me, it's kind of a deal breaker because it's just strange. This is, you know, a $300+ knife, 301 or whatever. MSRP is $355. You got premium materials. You have nice titanium frame lock. You got M390 steel. Benchmade made in the USA. Benchmade lifetime warranty. A lot of things going for it. Bearings, good size. They went with the tip down and up clip. But that right there is, it's weird. You don't feel it in the closed position. But as soon as you open that knife, and I tell you what, if you just take your thumb like that, you're gonna feel that sharp edge. Like I said, on the first one, it was like almost to the point where it was like gonna actually like cut your thumb. It was that sharp. This one's not as sharp, and I guess you could maybe round that. But I don't feel like modifying a brand new knife that I just got, that I spent that much money on. It's just kind of a weird thing. So that's the one negative first impression that I got of this knife, is that sharp edge right there on the frame lock, right there on the frame, right below the lock, and it's just weird, and you feel it in so many grips, and it's not. Sometimes it's not bad. Other times you're like right there, man. You can really, if you were to hold your knife down here and do some work, you could really feel it. The jimby's kind of far back on the blade, so it kind of forces you to choke back, and then you feel it right there on your knuckle. There's just not a lot of ways to get around it, except for maybe holding the knife right here. And if you're holding it in a light grip, you're not going to feel it. So, if you love everything else about the knife, and it's just going to be used for your typical EDC task, you'd be fine. But it's just something I like to point out because it's, for me, is a deal breaker on this one, especially this price point. And it's actually a pretty good price point for what you get, in my opinion. You get titanium frame lock, M390 steel, nice slim design. It's really slim overall. Really lightweight. It weighs around 3 ounces, 3.1 ounces. So it's a really lightweight EDC, and I want to love it. I really do. But that is something that for me is just kind of like a what the kind of moment. Like I've never really felt that on any frame lock. The Sabenza here, it doesn't have a sharp edge on it. It's just nice and rounded. This Kaiser, again, a really good budget model, is super smooth. No round, no sharp edges. Same with the ZT808 here. You just don't have that, and it kind of took me by surprise. I didn't expect it from Benchmade. Didn't expect it from this expensive of a knife. So for me, it must have to do with the monolock. That's what the patent refers to as the monolock. It's their design. Again, it's just another variation of the Chris Reeve integral lock. Instead of having a straight across lock bar here, you have this curve here, and I don't know that it makes it any stronger. If it is just for looks, aesthetics, I'm not sure. But it's too bad because it's a great slim, lightweight EDC knife and a great steel. With a great warranty. The other negative, I will say again, is the clip. It looks great. It's very aesthetically pleasing, but it's so stiff that it's just going to tear your pants up. Again, maybe not a big deal to you. Take the clip off, throw it in your pocket, or deal with the shredded pockets like we all do as knife loaders. But just some initial impressions, guys. Right off the bat, just handling it. Handled it about a week ago at Blade Ops, and then I ended up picking one up and hoping that the next one I got wouldn't have the same issue, and it does. It's not as pronounced as the one other one I handled, but it's very it's got a nice sharp point right there, guys, and you're gonna feel that. You put your thumb there. Again, a lot of guys are gonna be like, oh, it's not a big deal. Great, for you that's awesome. For me, it's not worth spending that kind of money on. So it's too bad because I really had high hopes for this one. It was one of my most anticipated models for 2016, and unfortunately, it's probably going to be a catch and release. So Alright guys, that's going to wrap up the video. Initial impressions of the Benchmade 765. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and we'll see you on the next video.